I have a healthy dose of skepticism of highly successful people when somebody says that they're either they'll say it themselves that they're highly successful, or somebody else will to recognize and bestow onto them high success, whatever that is, right? And I've over the years have become highly skeptical of those particular um, those labels because of just experience that I've had. And I think I've told this story before on this podcast. And I love my wife, but we're very different. And one of the ways that we're different is that I would, if we were cleaning a room, I would clean everything and sort of organize it so that it is, um, the way that sort of it would be properly done, quote unquote, right? Like, you know, it would be all laid out, um, and I would spend the time to put things away and all of that kind of stuff. Like, and it would take a long time, right? But my wife, probably a lot of you do the exact same thing. Is that if she's cleaning a room, particularly if somebody's coming by or something like that, she'll just throw everything in a closet. That would be just a great big pile of mess, right? And so she'll get done cleaning the room very quickly, and it will seem like she's done it in like a fifth of the time or a tenth of the time. Um, and what I've learned is that those two ways of cleaning get the same recognition, right? They get the same. People will look at that and they'll say, "Well, that's the exact same thing." When they come in, the guests will come in, they'll see a nice clean room. What they don't realize is everything is falling apart on either side. Um, and and those two things are they'll be the same recognition. People will say, "Oh, you got your shit together," but you don't look in the closets. As long as you don't look in the closets, everything is totally fine. Um, you know, and over the years, I've had these many moments where you look and you're like, well, I have no idea how these people do this, and they're so successful, and it's all put together, and there's no logic to this. It takes me this long to do this thing, and they get it done in this so quickly of time. It's almost always. Um, these moments. I'm not gonna go so far as to say that they're lying. Wink, wink. But I'm gonna say that there is other things that are going on that accelerate things dramatically. So when you look at it from the outside, you're like, oh, this is great. Look at how successful and everything is all hunky dory. And this is sort of the last few years have been really kind of enlightening, although I do think it's unfair in terms of the patterns that have been going on. Um, and I'm going to explain that in a second. But the last few years in science have been very interesting because there has been a demonstration of sort of the um, the challenges that underlie many of the scientific efforts in the expediency and sort of focusing on success has done, right? And it's very clear that there are shortcuts being made, and I'm going to say that it's this is the thing that I think is unfair, is that I think that there are somewhat targeted efforts at this moment, um, and it's unfair because a lot of this stuff is pervasive, it's systematic. There's a lot of people um, doing similar actions, but there's a few people that are being quote unquote targeted. Not targeted in the sense that you might think about, but they're sort of easy prey now for the media and stuff. So I, um, and of course, this is all alleged, right? Like I have to be very careful with that. Um, I just want to point out is that these incentives to want to impress other people, to show that you're successful, to have all of your shit put together, to make sure that everything is all done, and that you are a put together person, are extremely strong. That idea of impressing other people is extremely strong. And you really have to push back against that. Um, and it's even the same of these incentives to show that, even in competition and races and things like that, where you have your shit together, right? Like you want to sort of be the one that's in the limelight temporarily. Um, and so being the person that shows up despite the fact that you're not winning, despite the fact that your life is not all together, requires a great deal of humility, requires a great deal of, I'm not going to care what other people say, and it requires a great deal of just being raw with yourself. And I am always in awe of people that do that. One of the people that I am, I guess it's just in my family. I'm gonna brag on my son is pretty amazing in that, and both of my sons are pretty amazing in this way. In that, and I, hmm, I hate to brag on my kids, right? Like I don't like doing that. I probably shouldn't, but they'll show up despite the fact that they're not very good at things, and I like that. And it shows a lot of humility. Um, and I think like we need to teach people this a little more, of just show up. And that's where I'm like, I hate to, I just want people to sort of know that showing your flaws, not being everything all put together, just being raw is an important thing. And I encourage you all to do that and practice that. What's more important is what you're actually saying, what you're actually doing, than everything else that's behind it. And hopefully you'll agree. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.